previous high, previous low. We buy for price to take out the previous high. Okay, so after that we'll have a normal market structure. Price definitely just comes, we touch the area above, then afterwards we have this massive sell downward. Okay, we clear some orders down, and then afterwards price pushes higher. Okay, so here at this zone here, this is where price faced some bit of resistance, and then afterwards price skyrocketed up. Okay, so why is this very important? Well, because we have interest here. Price already broke this previous high. Okay, so you couldn't just enter our buys from this area. We would first of all have to wait for price to collect some orders. So remember that always price is moving towards sellers for it to sell. In a bullish market, price is moving to areas where there are more sellers in the market. Okay, then in a bearish market, price is moving towards areas for more buyers. Okay, so this area here had way too many sellers. Okay, so once price broke through this level, we had this massive push down. That shows an area of interest. That means price is likely to revisit this same area where there were so many sellers in the market, because believe it or not, there are less sellers here than they are here up above. Okay, there are less sellers in the market at this point, so it would make zero sense for me to start selling the market from this area. Okay, so there are also few sellers actually also at this area. Okay, they are there, but they're not too many. And then afterwards, this is the final area where you know that there are many sellers. Okay, so once I took my entries, because I knew that price could potentially look for orders in the market, and orders could be at points where we have buyers. Okay, so at this area here, we see that price came and then made this huge push upward. Okay, so I came back to this same area, price came again to this same area. We never broke through it, we only wicked through it. So that's the difference. Okay, so but anyways, even though we wicked through it, doesn't matter. What matters is that after price reaches that zone where there were buyers before, we just simply took our entries for buys, and then our target is where the previous sellers could have been. So that's our actually 1 to 2 or 1 to 3. Okay, if you check on this, you check on the history, the drawdown was just I took 4 positions, 1 2 3 4 positions. So we shall do it again. Okay, and this time around I want to see where price is going. So after we have cleared the high, okay, price has already cleared the high, so we need to see some bit of a correction move. Okay, so see that price eventually just continues going higher. Also here price breaks, continues higher. Okay, we break this previous high, and then actually after breaking, price just continues higher. Okay, so another push high. So these are 2 pushes. So price came to this area again and then just plummeted up. Okay, so wait for a pullback. What do we mean by a pullback? A correction move. We don't just enter for buys out of the blue. Wait for a correction move, then we take our entries. Okay, so we see that here we had a correction move, and then afterwards, boom, price breaks, but it only works through the zone. Okay, that means there are even more sellers at this point previous currently. So what should we do? Should we buy or should wait? We should wait, I think. Yeah, we should wait. Okay, so we see that price broke through actually, and then afterwards we had this humongous, so this is the next high. Okay, so price has just made a pullback a bit, and then afterwards we expect another push upward to break that high. But as you can see, price has now failed to break this high for almost 5 candles. Okay, so that's a good sign that we can now start selling, taking the market where the original sellers were. So if price breaks through this first zone, that means their sellers are very few at this area. If price breaks through the second zone, there are few buyers at that area, sorry. And then afterwards, price breaks all the 3 zones, we may have a push towards the original zone where there were buyers. So we shall just simply wait and see how this trade plays out. And our stop loss is of course above this high, a few pips above, because you can be wicked out a week. Okay, and then we are targeting this area. The first zone is here, so I'll enter another sell. Okay, that's the first area. The second area is of course, this is the first TP. This is the first TP. Okay, second TP is gonna be at around this area here. So let's first of all wait and see what price gives us. We see that price already made a new high. If you guys can observe, this trade is now incompetent. Okay, we can't take this trade anymore. We have seen that price has already made a new higher high. It came for a pullback. Okay, correction move. Then we have a new continuation towards the upside. So I shall close all my positions with a loss, of course. Then I shall take my buys, aiming to take out this previous high. Stop loss underneath this previous low, which is around here. And then as long as price moves down, I shall enter in more positions. We see that in one move, price already took out the previous high, giving us a 1 to 2 risk to reward ratio. Okay, so anyways, after some time, price now starts correcting again. Remember, this is the level that we want to break through. As simple as that. Price has shown interest that it has the capacity to break through this level. So wait for a correction move. Okay, correction move can go anywhere, so we don't usually judge where it can go. Okay, so we have an impulse, and then afterwards we have this massive push upward that clears the zone. Okay, so price is facing some bit of resistance here, but let's wait and see what it actually does, because in the time being I'm expecting that price will eventually push higher, because we haven't. Okay, so price, as you can see, it pushed higher, closed above the original high. This was the high that we had. Price came and broke through it and actually made a new higher high. So after that, all we have to do is wait for price to pull back, and then after we shall take our trades. Okay, so we see that price has pulled back and it has made this huge push. So after the corrective move, of course, we are aiming for price to take out the previous high. This is where the orders are. Okay, so we shall take in more buys. Stop loss is gonna be underneath this previous low, and then that's our TP. That's a negative risk to reward ratio, but we shall take it. It is what it is, bro. Okay, as we can see, price actually came and we tested this previous low. Okay, the previous low that was made, and then afterwards we had this massive push that actually cleared the order. But if you guys can see, price actually almost took us out. Okay, so you have to be very vigilant on that. The previous low wasn't taken out, which was fine, and the previous high was one we're aiming for, since we're in a bullish market. So you have to be very cognizant of that. Anyways, after some time, price did make new higher highs. Okay, which is good. So we see that price is pushing higher, so we have to wait for a correction move. Okay, correction move can happen. So we have a new high, a lower low, and then afterwards we're aiming for price to actually now take out this higher high. Okay, simple as that. Taking our buys, take profit at the previous high. Okay, and then stop loss underneath the previous low. If price comes down, we shall enter in even more entries. Okay, if you go to history, you see that our win rate has been almost 80%, and then we made over 53,000 points. To go here to the risk to reward, you see that we risked only 19,000 to make 53k. So that's a good win rate. Okay, now we shall analyze where we went wrong. Where we went wrong is that we entered in for buys at areas where buys weren't cognizant. At this area here, it was very ignorant of me to take sales, because market couldn't. We were acting out of emotion rather than on what market was giving us. Imagine if you had caught this huge move. Okay, so from around this area, if you had caught the area from around here all the way up to here, that's some good pips. And you could have caught that if you knew the basic market structure, which is price is either making higher highs and higher lows, or is making lower lows and lower highs. Okay, that's the basic market structure. So yeah, let's do it one more time, and then we shall look for more examples in the live market. So it's taking a bit of time to load the charts, but I'll take it. We shall take it. Okay, so here we go. So we see that price has been making lower lows in the previous zones. So the nearest zone that we have, this is the previous low. Okay, and price has to take it out before we have this continuation for the downtrend. For us to continue for the uptrend, price has to take out this previous high, which is around here. So once price takes out this previous high, wait for correction move, and then we shall have our setup for buys. Okay, what do we see after some time? Price actually does manage to break through, which is a very good move. So what do we want to see? We want to see a correction move. A correction move can take place at any moment. Okay, what we have to do is be patient, and then after we shall catch the move upward. So you see that the correction has already started. This is the new lower higher high, and this is the new this is a new higher low, and this is a new higher high. Okay, so that means that we can now take our entries based off of that. Stop loss underneath the previous low, TP at the previous high. Okay, simple as that. So let's go. We see that price actually came and hit our TP as usual, and then yeah, that's how it goes. Okay, price came, hit our TP, but instead it didn't form a new higher high. So we shall first of all wait. So price has now formed a new higher high. So we go to the nearest low, which may form this new higher high, which is around here. So this is the low that formed the new higher high, and this is the new higher high. So if you wait for correction move, so we see that price is forming a new higher highs. Okay, so this was the new higher high. We are now forming a new correction move, and we shall see what price gives us. So before we can take out the higher high, we may have some bit of a deep move downward, which is now happening, and then after that we shall take in our buys. Okay, so the first buy position I can take right now is gonna be here. Okay, stop loss is gonna be underneath this previous low, and then my TP is gonna be at the previous high. Simple as that. If we are to continue the uptrend, this is gonna be where I put my TP. Okay, simple as that. Simple as that. Alright, so after some time we see that price started to push down. It was pushing up, pushing up, pushing up. I think now we got stopped out. Okay, stopped out. Okay, so that means that price is now actually now standing bearish. Okay, the previous high was disrespected, and then after some time price is now turning bearish. So that means that price has the potential now to continue going downward. Okay, if you go to history, this move cost me around 82k. 8.2k. Okay, it's okay. Now once we have a new lower low, because now remember price was making higher highs, and then here we have a new lower low. Okay, so once we have a new lower low, all we have to do is wait for correction move. Now the correction move is going to happen when price respects this new lower low. Okay, so we shall wait a bit, and then we shall see what price gives us. We shall wait for a correction move towards that area. Very good, very nice, clean. We shall take our sells, aiming to take out this previous low. Okay, and then the previous high is gonna be where we put our stop loss. Okay, so we shall wait and see what price gives us. That's another entry. Stop loss is above, TP is gonna be at the previous low. Okay, let me bust that. Okay, so we got stopped out, price made a new higher high, and yeah, let's wait and see what price gives us. Remember that we can always change our direction based off of that. So we have a new lower low here, we have a new higher high. So since price cleared the orders, then we can simply take in our buys. Stop loss is gonna be beneath this previous low, TP at the previous high. Simple as that, clean as that. Imagine holding all this. This is H1, by the way. If you're a scalper, this is a very good strategy. So we shall take in more buys. TP is gonna be at the previous high, because that's where our liquidity point is. Then stop loss is underneath this previous created high. So let's wait and see. Okay, so price came, pushed through, and then cleared all the orders, which is very nice for us, because that means that price has now formed a new higher high. So given that information, all we have to do is now wait for price to make a pullback, because we have already cleared the orders. Okay, so wait for price to make a pullback, and then after we shall see another push upward to clear the higher high. So this is the previous high that price has made. So we are in a correction move, and we don't know where exactly it will end, but we shall always have the capacity to take in entries after the correction move. So we shall wait a bit. Okay, we shall wait a bit. And after some time, we see that the correction move has now ended because price cleared the previous low, previous higher high on the correction move. So wait for a pullback of this correction move, then afterwards we shall take our buys. Okay, I think okay, so you can now start taking in our buys. Stop loss is gonna be underneath this previous low, and then TP is gonna be at a higher high to clear this, to continue this upward trend. Okay, so we shall see another buy. Stop loss is gonna be underneath this low because this is the low that created the higher high. So if price is to continue the bullish move, okay, so we got stopped out. Instead, price continued down. Okay, it was looking for more buyers, which is okay. I think we missed something because this was the low that created this new higher high. So this was a more potential setup than the other previous one. Anyways, I'll take my buys at this area. Take profit is gonna be at the new created higher high. Stop loss under the new created lower low, and then after we shall see what price gives us. Okay, so price actually clears all the orders. Okay, so it gets kind of stopped out, and yeah, shall I think take one last entry because we have two equal lows here. So let's wait a bit for price to clear them, and then we shall take our entry. But it's a bit tricky how to trade this otherwise. Okay, you see this huge move. Okay, price is making lower lows, and then after it's making higher highs. It came for a retest. So after the correction move, we shall have a retest, and then afterwards our aim is gonna be at the top here. This is where we're gonna be put our take profits. Okay, all right, so for this session we ended up losing money, but the thing about this strategy is that all we have to do is wait. So this was the previous high, price never came to clear it. Okay, and also if you observe, this high was lower than this high. Okay, so that means that price was really bearish. Okay, so it had potential to continue even going lower. So I overlooked that. Also, if you look on the higher time frame, the market structure is extremely bearish. So the market structure is bearish until we clear this high here. This was the high that had to be cleared for price to turn bullish. Okay, this was the previous high, and then this was the previous low. Okay, so price had to clear the previous low before we had this bullish move. But anyways, I lost it because price was just making a retracement up, and then it was a continuation, but I never saw that. So we shall take caution of that next time when you're trading. And let's get another setup. So another setup is still on okay, so we have another setup here. So price has been making lower lows. This was the previous high that we had, so you may expect some bit of a correction move. This is now the previous low that we are having here. So price has to first of all clear some zones. Okay, so see that price has shown interest. It has cleared the first key zone. This is just a key zone. So if you can see, price has been making higher highs here. It made higher highs, higher lows. Okay, from lower lows to higher. This is now something to note. Price is now may be turning bearish. Okay, so wait for a pullback because this move is really risky, so you can't over marginalize on it. Okay, price indeed now comes back to the same area above, therefore we shall now sell. Stop loss is gonna be above this area TP because the market is bearish anyways. Stop loss above, then TP is gonna be at the previous low. Okay, so we shall take this trade. Let's sell. Let's sell. Okay, let me first close out these two positions because price has already cleared the higher highs, and let's see what price does here. Okay, so we finally find our entry First tip is gonna be at a new lower low here for price to clear it, and then stop loss is gonna be just a few pips above, so that even though we clear those equal lows, price has the courage to continue going down. Okay, so price eventually takes us out. We are in a loss of 44k, and yeah, I think that's it for this pair. Price took out the previous low. Shall now take ourselves. Tip is gonna be at the lowest extreme point. Stop loss is gonna be above this newly created low. So we shall buy here. TP is gonna be at the top here. Close out this sell, and then afterwards TP is gonna be underneath. So let's wait. Okay, so we finally see the move. And then TP for this is gonna be this previous low. Let's just take out that previous low before we continue any further down. Okay, so yeah, this setup has worked out really nice. Okay, and yeah, I think that's it for now. We shall wait for another impulsive push upwards, and then after there's a little high, we shall buy. TP is gonna be at the nearest zone, which is around here. Stop loss underneath these two zones. Okay, but guys, imagine this is gold. Okay, and look at my entry. My entry is actually now giving me almost 25,000 points. Okay, just one single entry. But yeah, the setups here that I saw was that we had a course model, but it's not like a bit of a course model. What you have to notice is that price was making lower lows, and then afterwards we started making higher highs. Okay, so that was my incentive for buying here. We had to make lower lows, and then price was starting to make higher highs, and then afterwards that's where I took my entries. So yeah, that's how it played out. And if I'm patient, I can hold up to there, so I'll take another entry, buy up to here. Then for this one, the first one I'll close. Stop loss for this second one is gonna be here. I think we're going to hit stop loss faster than we think. Okay, another one is also in profit. We came for a pullback, we never closed underneath. Look at that, stop loss was going to be hit just at the right moment. Okay, but then afterwards, of course. But you know how many hours this takes? This is almost like 3 days of waiting, and then price is just pushing up, pushing higher. Okay, so I'll close that one as well. So as you can see, price is now forming another structure. We have a new lower low here. This is the new higher high. Okay, so price has cleared the higher high. Now we're waiting for an impulsive move for a correction. Then afterwards we shall see another push upward. So all I want to see on the low time frame is for price to now start making these highs, and then stop loss is gonna be underneath this previous quoted low, which is around here. Okay, so it got stopped out, which is okay. We shall find another entry. Okay, but anyways, if you go to the history, my win rate is 50%. Total loss point was 60, and then afterwards the overall points that I made were 60k, so it was even, break even. But yeah, I think the mistake which I made at the first start here, I held these two positions for long. For instance, for the first position which I was holding for a sale, I sold very early. Okay, so it was just a very nonsensical sale. Okay, but for this second one, at least for the second one, for the second entry, I closed out. I was in a bit of profit up to here, but if I'd seen this change of character, price I was making lower lows and then we made higher highs, so price came here for a retest. This would have been my entry for buys and also a closing of this whole setup for sales. So yeah, that's it. Let's do one more setup on gold, and then we shall be looking for more setups on other pairs. Sorry for that. Okay, so price is making higher highs. If you guys can see, price was making, this was where it's coming from, previous low, previous high. Price came and pushed through the previous high, never came for a deep retest in this previous high, so that's an area to look out for. Then here we have another model. Price had made two zones, previous high, previous low, and we're expecting price to take out so price has taken out the previous high. Now for us to continue the bearish trend, price has to make a pullback, and then after we shall see we have a new higher high which is around here that led to this new higher high around here. Okay, so price has to break. Okay, so it broke above, came for a retest, then after some time price actually now started going up again. Very crazy stuff. This is gold anyways, and it can do whatever the hell it wants. So based on market structure, this would have been another good entry. Okay, we made another pullback. Okay, okay. Now I have something new here. So price has making higher highs, but here we made a new lower low. So this is a good zone to sell from, but I wouldn't sell immediately. I would wait for a pullback correction move. Okay, so we see the correction move is coming in, and then afterwards we shall sell. So place above this high, and then TP is gonna be at this previous low. Okay, this is the previous low, the newly created low. Okay, so let's wait and see. Okay, we got stopped out, which is good, because we know that that was simply a small move in the market, and price is now likely to continue going higher. So what do? We wait again. If price has made a new higher high, we buy. TP is gonna be at the high, then stop loss is gonna be at the previous low here. Okay, so price eventually pushes higher, then we create a new lower low, which is here. New higher high is gonna be here. Okay, so let's wait and see. Price makes a correction move, and after some time we see that price eventually comes and makes the correction move. So we shall enter in our buy, stop loss underneath, and TP is gonna be at the top here. Okay, we got stopped out, and I think we should just be looking for a correction move. Shall just be trading a correction move at this point. Okay, so just traded that simple correction move. Shall sell here, stop loss above this newly created high, then TP is gonna be at a low here because price is making lower lows. Got stopped out. Crazy stuff. Lower low, lower low, lower low. We sell. Still we are selling until we don't clear this high. We shall be in a good position to take in our entries. Okay, so we shall wait for another correction move, and then afterwards we shall start selling. Okay, correction move incoming. Okay, so we shall start selling here, clear that, and So I can observe very well. Price has already made, this was the previous high, previous low, this was the previous high, so this is all a correction move. Okay, so I shall buy at this area, aiming for price to clear that area there up, stop loss under this previous low, and then after that I shall hold my trades. Wonderful, I got stopped out. Okay, but still you're going to buy for price to continue the bullish move. You have to take out the previous high and then stop loss underneath the previous low, then you're good to go. Okay, so we shall buy some more, TP above, stop loss underneath this new liquidated low, and then I think we shall be good to go. Price is playing around, but eventually I know we are going to hit that TP. Okay, so price eventually hit the TP, so I think my win rate is low, but yeah, it is what it is. Okay, but look at that, price had to make a correction move, and then after that, first we took our entries, and then I think I should have been more patient and I would have waited for price to clear this trend line. Okay, after the price broke this trend line, that's where I would have entered my trades, knowing that the market structure is bullish for price to continue higher. So that could have been a clue, couldn't have just, but it's okay, shall try again. Here we shall be selling. Okay, early loss, but we shall take it anyway. So I'll draw my trend line so that I can know where price could potentially now start retracing back to. Okay, so here you see that price is making an impulsive move upward. We have cleared this was the previous low that we had. Okay, then price came and broke through this previous high. Okay, so as long as price doesn't close underneath the previous low, we may have good chances for price to continue going higher. So you have another trend line here, because this is all a pullback move. Okay, this is all a pullback move, so we shall wait. Okay, so the price has already broken from the trend line, and then after some time we have an impulsive corrective move. Okay, so that's good. See that this is a previous low that price has created. We have had a break of the trend line, and on top of that we also have a change in character. So I'll take in my buys from here, stop loss under this newly created high, then tip is gonna be at for price to continue this trend. We have to clear that high, so I'll be a bit lenient with my stop loss. It will be there, and then after we shall have the TP above there. Okay, we got stopped out. Okay, we got stopped out. Let me just adjust this a bit. Okay, so this is the new higher high, so let's wait a bit. We have to wait for price to clear the high, because this is the previous high, previous lower low, so price has to clear it, then we have a correction move, after which we shall see. Okay, so you see the price has been making lower lows, then at this point price made a new higher high, and then on top of that we broke structure. But the structure that we broke, okay, I'll buy here, stop loss underneath this previous low, and then tip is gonna be for price to clear this high here, so that we can continue this bearish trend. Okay, so let's wait and see. After some time, TP gets hit. Okay, TP gets hit, we have 27k in profit. So yeah, that was my move. Okay, all you have to do is wait for price to take out the previous low. Okay, after which then you can take your entries for buys. Simple as that. But what actually made me click, what made it click for me at this point was that this is an area price has made making lower lows, and then here we have price making a new higher high. Now this is a bit tricky, but you see that price, as long as it makes a new higher high here, that means there is less interest from sellers to actually continue making the market lower. So you see that price came, tried to break this low to make a new lower low, but failed. Since the price failed, my stop loss was underneath. I was buying here, okay, and then my TP was going to be at the very top. Okay, this was the top that I was looking for price to break and then continue the bullish trend. But anyways, after I cleared all that, all I had to do is wait now for price to make a new correction move, because now this is a new higher high and then this is a new lower low along this area. So price has to first of all respect any of them. So price breaks the first demand zone, so we have to wait for price to pull back a correction move, and then afterwards we shall see what to do. So after some time, price already now makes a new lower low. Now price makes a new higher high. Now this is where the shit gets crazy. Okay, so the moment price makes a new higher high, we see that price has been printing lower lows. Okay, lower low, and then here we have another lower low around here. Okay, so this is a new lower low, so we have to wait for price to make a higher high, a higher low, before you can take in our entry. So you don't simply just enter buys simply because you have seen that price has changed character. No, you have to wait for a new higher high. Exactly, now we have a new higher high around this area, so this is a good point for me to start buying. Stop loss is gonna be beneath this previous low here, because it wouldn't make sense for price to come and clear it. TP is gonna be at the top around here. Okay, so let's wait and see what price does. So after some time, price is just playing around, just having its little dance in the wind, and then we get hit. The TP is always hit. Okay, that's it, guys. Simple as that. The TP gets hit every single fucking time, and it's crazy how most of this is so simple. It's very simple, in fact, that I'm not even bragging, I'm not even telling you anything new, but it's very simple that I don't know even how to explain it in simple words. It's very simple. It's that simple. You wait for price to, you have to first of all wait for a change of character. We see that price actually, not even a change of character, change of direction. We see that price broke this higher lower low. Okay, then after that, what do we notice? We notice that price actually has to make a new higher high. Okay, so a new higher high is in form of this this zone here. Okay, so this is a good zone for me to start taking in my buys, because this is where price made a new higher high. Okay, so after some time, of course, price came, we tested this level a bit, and then afterwards we had this break of structure, and then we had this push upward. Simple as that. Very simple. But of course now this is the H1, therefore you have to be a little bit more patient. If you have to be patient, we have to be a lot patient, because the moment you start stumbling around, you are going to end up in loss. So yeah, those are the few trades I've been taking. We have a 9k loss, 10k loss, 12k loss. That's like 30k in loss. But anyways, we shall just move on, because we know that price always follows structure. Structure is the backbone of price. Okay, structure is the what? Is the backbone of price. So we shall, let me first move all this so that you can see clearly where I took my entries. All right, so that's the new higher. This is the new higher high. Okay, so we have to wait for price to make a new higher high, and then afterwards we see that price has made a new higher high around here, and then we had a correction move, and then if you go to the low time frame, this could have been an apparent move, but you have to wait for a break of structure, maybe like in form of a new higher high. So you see that price here, if you guys can observe this thing very clearly, price is making lower lows and then lower lows. Okay, but at this point, after this break, we have this now higher high around here. Okay, so that could give me the confidence for me to take my buy setup here for price to continue this trend TP is gonna be at the high there. And then for even more analysis, you can even draw a trend line. I usually like to draw my trend line like this. Of course, if you guys can observe, this was an extreme case trend line, so I wouldn't like so base it so much so early on it. But yeah, I think that's it. Okay, stop loss underneath that area there. Of course, we formed the new lower low, new higher high, and then TP is gonna be at the previous high. So let's go. See, simple as that. Price came and made us proud. Okay, price came and made us proud. We hit the area, the previous high, but we just cleared it only a little before price now. I don't know. Okay, we see that price actually eventually breaks to make a new higher high. Don't ignore this, because most people have this tendency of ignoring these wicks. They think, this is not a new higher high, price is weak. But these wicks actually mean a lot, because they show you that there was an interest by buyers to actually create a new higher high. And after creating the new higher high, they cleared out their orders. They immediately now started doing what? Clearing off their orders for buy. So they stopped buying at that area, and then after the market now started pushing lower. So after some time, price came again and broke through the new higher high to create a new higher high. So we have this extreme case. Okay, so now price already now has left it has left behind a new higher high. So what do we want to see? We want to see that price makes a new higher high, and then we shall take our entry. So price is making okay, price made a new higher high again around here. So this is a new lower low, then this is a new higher high. Okay, simple as that. So shall wait a bit for price to continue. Okay, so this is a new higher high around here, then this is the new lower low around here. So these are all key confluences that price could continue this bullish trend. Price has to come back down. Okay, so you see, simple as that. I want you to imagine the simple strategy and then keep doing that strategy. You see that price has been making higher highs, and then of course now have a new, imagine this was a lower high, right? And no, this is a lower low, and then this is also a lower low. But at this point, price instead makes a new higher high. That means sellers failed to take out this previous lower low. So what do? All I have to do is now start buying along this point, and then TP is gonna be at previous high, because that's where the market structure is. Stop loss underneath this previous quoted higher high. Simple as that. Higher low, sorry. Simple as that. In one trade, price takes out a higher high to give us this brand new setup. Okay, so guys, I can't explain enough how this goes, but it's one of the strangest and clear strategies that you can ever find in the market right now, because most of the other strategies are all about market structure, all about liquidity, small liquidity grabs. Let me tell you something. Around this area here, we had liquidity. Okay, price never came and cleared this liquidity, so you're going to be so messed up in your mind because you don't know where exactly liquidity is. Most of the liquidity traders will tell you that these are equal lows, therefore price has to come and clear them. So most of the people will be so damn impatient and they'll have to wait for liquidity to be swept at this area. What I'm telling you instead is that you have to follow structure of the market. It's simple as that. Don't make yourself straightened. Okay, so simple as that. So after we see that price clears this higher high, we have now this extreme push downward. Okay, so this was an impulsive move. Now this is a very extreme impulsive move. So wait for a bit, wait a bit, and we see that price is now making a new lower low. So if you have been observant of the market structure in the past few days, see that this was the previous low, okay, and this was the previous high. Price came and cleared the previous high, and then after we're making this move downward. Okay, so what do we want to see? We want to see that price making a new higher high, and then after a new higher low, and then after we shall take in our entries. So you see that price does this. Okay, so price has now formed a new higher high. This high is higher than the previous high, so our tip is gonna be at the top, stop loss underneath, and we shall wait and see what price does. Guys, I don't know how I'm even doing, like, most people will say that I've been back testing in the back, and therefore that's how I'm able to take these trades. But honestly, bro, I didn't even take these setups like beforehand. I'm just using basic market structure, bro. Like, I'm not even capping at this point. The only thing maybe that you could do, which you could master, is a bit of the entry model, because look at my entry here was good, but if you are to use a live account, this would have been a huge stop loss. So I'd advise you that at least you can minimize that, maybe by looking for imbalances and all that few concepts, okay? But overall have the market structure in head. Anyways, yeah, that's it for now. Okay, so price made a new higher high. How many positions have I taken today? Let me see. 1 2 3 4 5 6 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 I have 3 positions left. Okay, so again, price has made a new higher high. This is the new higher high, and then this was the previous low that was created by the price. Okay, so let's wait for, let's move this trend line because price has clearly broken through it, and then let's wait a bit. Okay, so we see that price has now made this impulsive move downward, which is okay for us. Now what do we expect for market to do? We expect for price to continue the bearish trend. Exactly, now we have a new higher high. This is the previous lower higher low, and this is the previous higher high that was taken out. So we want to see another correction move before we have another trade setup. So price is making okay, so price is making a correction move. So this is a previous lower low, price took it out, okay, to make a new lower low. So we see another push upwards by the market. Okay, so this is the new lower low. Along this area here we have a new lower low. Along this area here we have a new higher high. So we shall take in our buys, of course. We can't even hesitate taking our buys. Stop loss under this new higher high. Tip is gonna be at the market structure point, which is around here. Okay, so that will be my TP, and then after some time, of course, price takes out the zone. Okay, new higher high, stop loss at the market structure point, take profit hit. Simple as that. So we wait for another area. We see that price creates this new higher high. Okay, price makes this new higher high, continue with lower lows, then price makes lower lows again. So what exactly do we see here? If you observe, if you're a market structure guy like me, this was the previous low, and then this is the previous high. So that means sellers have failed to actually take out the previous lower low. Okay, what does this give you in mind? The moment you see this, what do you have in mind? You have the point of view that price could potentially not take out this high. If it is to continue the trend upward, tip is going to be at the previous market structure high. Okay, so we shall wait a bit, and after some time we got stopped out. Okay, that's okay, it happens. And yeah, it happens, of course, it happens. So now, given our intellect of the market structure, we should know by now that now we have another point of interest, which comes in when we have a new lower low. You see that this high here, we have a new lower low around this area. So that is already good momentum, a good reason for us now to start thinking about now the market turning bearish. So what do? All we have to do is wait. We see a move upward for correction, and then another push downward. What do we see? Price actually now is failing to create a new lower low. So I shall buy, okay, because the market is bullish, therefore this could be the end of the bullish trend. My TP is gonna be, of course, at the previous low, which is around here. This is a small TP, but I'll take it. and then top loss underneath, of course, the previous low, and then we shall see what price gives us. Okay, we get stopped out again, which is also cool. So I want to analyze these final two trades that I took, and I see where I made the mistake. Okay, price was bearish, which was fine, and we broke structure to the downside. Also here we came, we broke structure to the downside, but I think I was using minor levels. If you observe, I was using minor levels for my entries. For instance, this was a new higher high, which is good, but we didn't break any structure. If you guys can observe previously, we never broke any major structure at that area, so it wasn't like a clear setup. For instance, what do I mean by breaking a major structure point? Here's what I mean. We see that price never actually came to break this high. Okay, so if price had broken that high and then we had this new higher low, this would have been a good setup, but it never did any of that, so there is no confirmation entry. Anyways, after some time, my win rate is 60%. If you go there, you see that my profit is 82k, and then my risk is only 70k. So yeah, that's it guys, that's it for now. Shall be posting you soon.